Hello, everyone. This is me, Rabab from TECHx Media. Cloudflare, the security performance and reliability company, has recently released its inaugural 2023 Phishing Threats Report. And the findings of the report highlight that phishing remains the most dominant and fastest growing internet crime, largely due to the ubiquity of email and the constant issue of human error that is preyed upon by today's threat actors. So today, Oren Falkowitz has joined us. He is Cloudflare's field CSO. So let's welcome Oren, and we will ask him a couple of questions we have about this report, and we will explore more about the phishing threats we have now. So let's welcome Oren on TECHx Media. Hi, Oren.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's nice to talk with you.
Same here. So Oren, let's start with the first question that I have. The 2023 Phishing Threats Report highlights that phishing remains the most dominant and the fastest growing internet crime. Could you please provide some insights into why phishing continues to be such a prevalent threat despite ongoing efforts to combat it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it remains today that 9 in 10 times when there's damages in cybersecurity, you can look back and find that it's a phishing attack. That was the initial start of that. And I think it's important for folks to understand maybe what is a phishing attack, right? In its simplest form, it's an attempt to get a person just like you or I to take an action. And those actions are pretty limited, right? They're either downloading files or clicking links, which is the most prominent thing that we observe, or just sometimes transferring monies or documents, out. These attacks, they work really well because as humans, we're susceptible to stories. And we find that people just have not implemented the right strategies consistently. One of the things that's also sort of interesting is that, in our world today, we're talking so much about really advanced technological concepts like artificial intelligence and quantum computing, and superconductors have been hot on the internet in the last couple of weeks. But, what's interesting about these attacks is that they're not, sophisticated in that sense, right? They're relatively straightforward. And I think that challenges a lot of organizations in how they deploy strategies to stop them.
That's interesting. So Oren, the report also reveals a significant increase in identity deception threats, accounting for a 14.2% of total detections. Could you elaborate on what these threats entail and why they have seen such a rise in recent times?
Yeah, so in order for the attacks to be effective, right, the attackers have to be authentic, right? They have to be able to appear visually or or conceptually to be the brands that we trust and know, and the things that we expect to see on a daily basis, or part of the organizations that we work with, whether it's like our business partners or the people that we work with on a daily basis, like our executives or managers or CEOs, CFOs, and so forth. Without that authenticity, right, if you just got an email that said, wire me $1 million, you would say, well, why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense at all. But when it's a part of a practice that you understand, such as, Microsoft is the most impersonated brand that we observe, it would make sense to most people as they're using those products to be logging into Microsoft services or accessing data through their SharePoint services and so forth. And so it's this need to be authentic, to make the hairs on the back of your neck not stick up, or make the instinct inside of yourself not seem, hey, this is unusual, that attackers really have to focus on. And so it causes them to be sort of clever. The primary adaptation that you see year over year is that as brands become more and more popular, so maybe 10 years ago there was no such thing as TikTok, and today TikTok is a large brand, you'll see phishing attacks sort of trend towards that. You wouldn't see really small or niche brands. Now you can see brands of more import on a regional basis, right? Our analysis here is primarily on the global level, but sometimes when you go regionally, you'll see some modest differences, but the pattern is still the same, that these are the things that the people are expecting or are most familiar with.
Correct. So moving forward, when you talk about the big names like Microsoft emerges as the most impersonated brand, followed by the other major companies like Google, Salesforce. What factors make these brands appealing targets for impersonation, and how can companies like Cloudflare help in mitigating such attempts?
Well, what makes them, so susceptible to being impersonated is that their products are really popular, their products are really good, and their logos and marks and the expectation to be using their products and services is generic, right? So, it's almost every day that I log into a Google service myself. So it doesn't strike me as odd to see their logo, in a login page. And I'm sure, there are many on our list that are familiar to people, whether it's your bank or popular SaaS products or media and so forth. And so it's really as simple as that. I think what this reveals sort of is that as individuals, as humans, it's hard for us to discern what is malicious and what's not. But technology is really good at this, and the types of technologies that we develop from both our cloud email security service, as well as our remote browser isolation, the other products that enterprises can deploy, they can find the intricacies or the deceptions within them. So, for instance, if you see like a Google login page, but it's not really going to the right IPs or to the right URLs. These might be things you might miss as you click, and they might not seem strange to you, but computers can build algorithmic approaches that are very effective at stopping them and making sure that there's no damages. I often like to tell people that I talk to that, our goal is not to stop people from being attacked. Our goal is to stop there from being damages. And the technologies, when they're in the service of people, can be very effective at doing so.
Yeah, this sounds very promising. So moving on to my last question, could you provide more information about the zero trust solution, which encompasses email security? How does this approach help organizations address the challenges posed by the diverse range of phishing threats?
Well, sure. There's a lot of talk about zero trust, and some people don't fully understand it. From my vantage point, really, when we're talking about zero trust, we're talking about a different methodology. It used to be if you had a username and password, you could log into a network and kind of just roam around, and get access to all the files and services and so forth. And those, what we're trying to do with this zero trust approach is to think about access controls at a more granular level. And it can start with email and identity and access to different applications and control to the web. And so you want this sort of suite of never trusting an identity or a user or a person fully across, but to do it on a case-by-case basis, and then to be able to take in other artifacts when something is amiss in it. And so that approach, I think, is really effective. We recommend to folks that they kind of get on the journey and they think about simple and straightforward ways that they can implement this zero trust mindset from tomorrow, forward, and you'll see incredible progress across the way. It doesn't have to be an all-in-one encompassing thing. There's no zero trust product, right? There's a zero trust, framework and methodology, and the solutions, that we provide and the implementation and the strategies that people are adapting end up with significantly better results than we've historically seen. People have spent a lot of money in the cybersecurity industry and have not gotten much better results historically. And what we want to be able to do is to give people both the confidence and the accountability in the results as they approach, this new paradigm.
That's very interesting, Oren, and thank you so much for joining us today. That's all from my side, and we hope to have you again with TECHx Media in future.
Thank you so much. Yeah, nice chatting with you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to TECHx to know more about what is happening inside the technology industry. Goodbye.